very warm welcome. This is Ameco and you're watching our daily updates live from the studio. I am Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said Ethiopia expects 7.9% economic growth this Ethiopian fiscal year, one of the fastest in the world. Brown Workana has more on it.
During the 14th regular session of the House of People's Representatives, the Premier responded to queries from members of Parliament. In his remarks, Abiy raised the following key pointers. With regard to tax collection, the Premier said the revenue collected in the first 6 months of the fiscal year amounted to 265 billion birr, achieving 98% of the targeted 270 billion birr. This represents a 17% increase when compared to the same period last year. However, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed acknowledged the need for further improvement, citing countries like Morocco and neighboring nations that collect higher percentages of their tax to GDP ratio. Abiy further underscored the significance of tax collection for promoting adequate development in the country, calling for necessary reforms to increase the tax revenue. The Prime Minister urged Ethiopians to be aware that taxes are now being paid at a sufficient level, requesting their cooperation in this regard. Abiy highlighted the relatively low tax to GDP ratio, emphasizing the need for a higher contribution from the population. Speaking about export and import trends, the Premier stated that the country earned $10.7 billion with an earning of 4.5 billion in the first half of this year. In terms of import, Ethiopia imported goods worth $17 billion last year, while this year's import amounted to $7.5 in the first 5 months. With respect to foreign investment, Prime Minister Abiy highlighted Ethiopia's success in attracting foreign investment. According to Abiy, $3.4 billion worth investment was secured last year. This year, the Premier added 1.5 million jobs were created within 5 months. Inflation is a result of various economic challenges, primarily stemming from insufficient domestic production. However, the Prime Minister noted a slight decrease in inflation from 30 to 28% this year. The government's strategy to combat inflation involves boosting production, the Premier stated, adding that successful outcomes have been registered in wheat and rice harvesting. The Premier pointed out the significant reduction in spending on wheat by saving over 700 billion birr annually. Regarding debt, the Premier emphasized that the government's stand is to avoid taking commercial loan. The government has not taken commercial loan during the past 5 years. On the other hand, it has paid $9.9 billion in the stated period. In conclusion, the Premier expressed his determination to continue driving tangible changes in Ethiopia. Abiy pledged to strengthen the ongoing efforts and initiatives aimed at fostering economic growth, job creation and reducing inflation. Overall, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's address to the Parliament highlighted Ethiopia's positive economic trajectory, emphasizing the need for increased tax collection, promoting exporters, attracting foreign investment and improving domestic production to sustain the nation's growth and development. In recent months, Ethiopia has witnessed a substantial increase in deposits, standing at a total deposit of an impressive 1.3 trillion birr. Although this growth in deposits has an impact on inflation by reducing the money supply, the effect has been relatively minimal with little overall consequence. Turning to loans, over 170 billion birr was given on a loan in the past 6 months, with a notable shift in distribution. Some 83% of this was taken by the private sector, a significant change when compared to the previous years when the government received 70% of the loans. This shift signifies a significant transformation in the lending landscape, empowering private enterprise and fostering economic diversification. The stability and resilience of Ethiopia's banking sector played a crucial role in navigating through challenging times. The Commercial Bank of Ethiopia and Development Bank of Ethiopia, which were on the verge of collapse, were secured to ensure their continued operation. The successful intervention in safeguarding these financial institutions has contributed to the overall stability of the economy.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed stressed that Ethiopia has no intention of harming Somalia. Brown Wismal tells us more.
Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, in a speech to the House of People's Representatives, reaffirmed that the government of Ethiopia does not have any intention of causing harm against the sovereignty of Somalia. He said that Ethiopia doesn't need war, and it's unthinkable that the government of Somalia wants to get into war with Ethiopia. The Premier mentioned that Ethiopia is the second home to Somalis, next to Somalia. He said, according to Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the friendship between the two countries is so profound that Ethiopia does not wish any harm to come upon Somalia.
የሶማሊያን መንግስት የሚያፈራርስ የሶማሊያን መንግስት ህልውና የሚያጠፋ የሶማሊያን መንግስት የሚጎዳ ኢንቴንሽን ኢትዮጵያ የላትም።
The people of Ethiopia and Somalia are bound by blood. Many Ethiopians have died for the peace of Somalia. And no country has paid as much as Ethiopia for the peace and stability of Somalia.
ከኢትዮጵያ በላይ ለሶማሌ የሞተ አንድም ሀገር የለም። መግለጫ ያወጣል። የሞተ አንድም ሀገር የለም።
He reminded that thousands of Ethiopians have died for the sake of peace and stability in Somalia, because peace in Somalia brings peace for Ethiopia, and it has been shown in a recent phenomenon when Ethiopia trained Somalian soldiers.
በሺ የሚቆጠሩ የሶማሊያ መንግስት ወታደሮች ሁርሶ አሰልጥነን ልከናልኛ።
Ethiopia has recently trained Somali military recruits at the Hursho training center, and this shows that we do not have any intention to get into conflict with Somalia.
ወንድሞቻችን ናቸው። በጋራ ትብብር ማደግ እንፈልጋለን።
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, in his speech to the parliament, stressed that the issue of the Red Sea is an issue of survival for Ethiopia, being a nation for more than 120 million citizens.
ቀይ ባህር ለኛ በጣም ህልውናችን 120 ሚሊዮን ህዝብ ነው ያለው።
As a nation of more than 120 million citizens, Ethiopia highly needs the Red Sea. Without access to it, the country's existence will be endangered. Ethiopia's intention is to work and develop with other states in the area. If it is right when Ethiopians die for the peace of Mogadishu and the peace of Darfur, why it becomes controversial when it comes to the instability in the Red Sea? It is similar. The main concern must be working to bring peace in the area.
Prime Minister Abiy reaffirmed that the quest Ethiopia has is access to sea based on mutual benefit. This is useful not only for Ethiopia, but also for regional cooperation. With regard to the issue of the Red Sea, the Premier stated that Ethiopia has been louding her voice, and now it's a critical time for neighboring countries, as the Red Sea is in a toughest situation ever before. Currently, not only Ethiopia and other horn states, but also countries like Egypt and India are affected, as the overall trade and economy across the Red Sea is stagnant due to the Houthi militia taking action against properties of Western powers and their allies. Explaining the diplomacy of Ethiopia, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said the country's diplomacy is centered around its national interest. Abiy added that, based on its national interest, the government gives priority to relations with neighboring countries. He added that Ethiopia has already been working to protect its national interest in cooperation with neighboring and other countries.
During the 14th regular session of the House of People's Representatives, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed reiterated the government's unwavering commitment to advancing tourism destinations. Fevendel Nessa has the details.
In response to inquiries from the House of People's Representatives, Prime Minister Abiy emphasized the significance of the tourism sector and the immense growth potential it holds for the country. Prime Minister Abiy also revealed that the ongoing renovation of the renowned Palace Jubilee will be completed within the next 3 months. This announcement was made during the 14th regular meeting of the House of People's Representatives as part of the Prime Minister's comprehensive response to the raised queries. In his remark, Prime Minister Abiy underscored the government's steadfast dedication to enhancing historical sites for tourism, citing the successful construction of Unity Park, which has already generated substantial revenue by leveraging Minilik's second palace. Furthermore, Prime Minister Abiy highlighted the ongoing construction of the Jubilee Palace, a project characterized by its exceptional quality and efficiency. Once the renovation is finalized, the palace is poised to become one of the most alluring and highly sought after tourist destinations in Addis Ababa. The project, which involves a workforce of 3,400 workers, is progressing smoothly. In addition to these endeavors, the government is actively engaged in restoring other significant historical landmarks, including the Lalibela churches and Gondar churches. Prime Minister Abiy emphasized that the objectives of these initiatives transcend mere income generation. Abiy said they represent a dedicated effort to safeguard Ethiopia's cherished lifestyle and heritage.
Ethiopia has made extensive preparations in all aspects to host the 44th Exclusive Council meeting and the 37th ordinary session of the Assembly of the Heads of State and Government of the African Union. State Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Chairperson of the African Union Summit National Committee, Ambassador Burtukan Ayano, in her media briefing earlier today said that the assembly will be held following Ethiopia's major diplomatic successes on the world stage, recalling Ethiopia's membership of the BRICS bloc and the prestigious Agricola Medal, which was awarded to the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The permanent representative of Ethiopia to the African Union and UNECA Ambassador Ayala Lire presented the activities that were being undertaken in collaboration with the member states to successfully host the conference. Representatives from various member institutions of the National Committee also touched upon the main activities carried out in their respective institutions for the summit. The 44th ordinary session of the executive will be held from February 14th to 15th, and the 37th ordinary session of the Assembly of the Heads of State and Government will be held from February 17th to 18th respectively in Addis Ababa. The user-centered integrated rangeland and water monitoring and early warning system in pastoral areas of Ethiopia project has launched a system that empowers pastoralists to make informed decisions, better manage risks, and strengthen their resilience against the impacts of climate change. Modomluye has more.
Agriculture State Minister Fikru Ragasa, in his opening remarks, said the project comes at a time when pastoralists are struggling to survive under recurrent droughts. Ethiopia's rangelands used by pastoralists in agro-pastoral communities cover approximately 63% of the country's landmass. The area has faced a total of 8 major droughts in the past 15 years and experiencing the effect of climate change through increased water and forage scarcity and mass livestock days, thereby causing food insecurity and severe disruption to pastoralists' livelihoods and displacement of people searching for food. Therefore, the State Minister said there is an urgent need for proactive risk management solutions to ensure their survival, and in response, the Ministry, alongside both international and local partners, has developed a system that stands as both a technological breakthrough and a point of hope for the pastoralists.
The development of integrated platform that offers timely and personalized information to the pastoralists, thereby enhancing the livestock risk management practice through nearly real-time water and pasture monitoring and early warning system, and addresses these needs directly. The products of the project exemplifies our dedication to prioritize the needs of the most vulnerable within our innovative processes.
According to Fikru, the system is critical in fostering pastoralists' livelihood resilience by providing near real-time information on water and pasture resources. Therefore, the products produced and provided by the system can play a pivotal role in preventing loss of livelihood by accessing useful information that allows communities to make informed decisions in remote areas. The system symbolizes more than just technological advancement. It represents the commitment to protecting the environment, economy, and communities. Alliance of Biodiversity and the International Center for Tropical Agriculture Research team leader Santayo Alamayo said the main objective of the project is to provide near real-time water, pasture, and climate information to livestock producers for risk management, decision-making, and drought planning.
The project that we are now currently implementing is called Livestock Early Warning System that has a capability to predict pasture and water availability in the pastoral region of Ethiopia. We are now piloting this project in Borana, it's in Oromia regional state, one of highly dominated livestock population, particularly cattle.
Fintayo added that the absence of real-time information on water availability had hindered the government to make a timely decision in response to recurrent drought. The pilot project that runs from the coming 2 years will be expanded to Somali and Afar regional states, it's learned.
As we proceed to news beyond borders, Djibouti has intensified Coast Guard patrols along its strategic waterways as the Red Sea crisis unfolds. Djibouti Coast Guard Commander Colonel Wais Omar Bogore said that when you're securing something, not only the sea, and something happens, you need to increase the time before which is coming and which is currently going on. That's why we increase our capabilities. We increase how to secure the area more than before according to the situation currently going on in the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, and the Bab al-Mandab. Djibouti has achieved economic growth during the past decade, and the ongoing crisis could negatively impact the coastal nation. The country hosts several foreign military bases, but it is not part of a US-led coalition that has launched airstrikes against the Houthi group. The Houthis, who control southwest Yemen, say their attacks are aimed at ships which links to Israel, and they too continue attacking targets until Israel's deadly war on Gaza stops. Hamas says it has given its response to a framework proposal for a new ceasefire in Gaza. The details of the deal set out by Israel, the US, Qatar, and Egypt have not been released. It was earlier reported to include a 6-week truce when more Israeli hostages would be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners. Israel and the US have both. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who is currently in the Middle East, said he would discuss Hamas's response with officials in Israel today. The official said Hamas had also asked for changes relating to the treatment of those injured, including their return home and transfer to hospitals abroad. Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani has described Hamas's response as positive in general, as BBC reported it. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of Ameco program.